अगर आप अपनी ओवरऑल हेल्थ फिक्स करना चाहते हैं और आप जानना चाहते हैं कि वो क्या एक चीज़ है जिसको आप आज से अगर फिक्स करना शुरू करें तो योर ओवरऑल हेल्थ विल स्टार्ट इम्प्रूविंग इमीडिएटली. That is the topic of our video today. I'm going to talk about gut-brain axis, gut health, how it affects your brain, and the microbiome. वैसे तो gut health affects all bodily functions, be it physical or mental. हर सिस्टम को gut health affect करती है. लेकिन I will be focusing on the gut-brain axis and mental health specifically today and how your diet affects that. The brain constantly sends signals to your gut in times of stress or happiness, relaxation, whatever the conditions are. Body जिस भी stress से गुजर रही है या जिस experience से गुजर रही है, the brain will send signals to your gut and the gut will react accordingly. Your gut health has a huge impact on your mental health. ये आपके बिहेवियर को अफेक्ट करती है. बहुत सारी साइकाइट्रिक कंडीशंस में इसका रोल है. एंड अ लॉट ऑफ न्यूरोडेजेनरेटिव डिजीजेस सच एज अल्जाइमर्स, पार्किंसंस, उसमें भी गट ब्रेन एक्सेस का बहुत रोल है. इंटरेस्टिंगली बहुत सारी न्यूरोडेजेनरेटिव डिजीजेस सच एज पार्किंसंस, इनके फर्स्ट सिम्टम्स विल मैनिफेस्ट इन द गट years before the disease becomes full-fledged. We now know that the gut also talks to our brain. So it's a bidirectional path. Constantly, gut and brain are talking to each other. Gut आपके brain को signals भेजता है जिसकी वजह से आपका mood और behavior constantly affect होता है. So this bidirectional communication is called the gut-brain axis. Now, how they communicate with each other? They communicate with each other, broadly speaking, through nerves, through hormones and neurotransmitters such as serotonin, through immune signals, and through microbial metabolites. The gut has its own bundle of nerves called the enteric nervous system. Enteric nervous system and the brain, they communicate with each other through the vagus nerve. Vagus nerve एक बहुत ही important nerve है and the main source of, you can say, the main line of communication. Secondly, the microbiome. The microbiome is very interesting. A lot of research is being done around this subject, and I will tell you why this is so interesting later in the video. Now, what is microbiome? Microbiome आखिर क्या है? Microbiome are the trillions of bacteria, fungi, viruses that live in your gut, specifically in your large intestine. Mostly are bacteria. Now, these trillions of bacteria have a huge role to play in the gut-brain axis, and eventually they affect your mood and mental health. The key point is that the number does not matter as much as the diversity of these bacteria. मतलब जितनी variety और diversity होगी इन bacteria में या microbes में, उतना ही आपका gut healthy होगा. Now, in this sea of microbes, there are good bacteria and there are bad bacteria. And the balance of this good and bad is what matters the most. When you have more variety of the beneficial bacteria, it's called eubiosis. When the bad bacteria outnumbers the good bacteria, then that is called dysbiosis. Dysbiosis is the point where disease starts in your gut. In a healthy gut, 90% of the bacteria will be good bacteria. And I will mention the names of the most common bacteria at the bottom of the screen, which are described as healthy bacteria. What these do is when you have sufficient fiber in your diet, they ferment this fiber and release short-chain fatty acids. Short-chain fatty acids are needed to maintain the wall of the intestine. मतलब कि आपका जो large intestine है उसके अंदर जो wall होती है, it needs to stay intact ताकि आपकी जो ऐसे products which are supposed to stay in your gut do not get released into the bloodstream. That is when the problem arises. जब ये short chain fatty acids release होते हैं, so they make sure that the intestinal wall is intact. They also regulate the immune signals. They lower inflammation. Now, when is this barrier broken? This barrier is broken when the bad bacteria outnumber the good bacteria. So this barrier needs to stay intact. अगर ये break करता है या damage होता है, there are negative effects in the entire body. Now, the single most important determinant that shifts this balance in either direction is your diet. Your diet or your dietary pattern, to be precise, matlab the way you eat over a longer period of time, is what will determine कि आपके gut eubiosis में रहता है या dysbiosis में रहता है. This is where the ultra processed foods also come in. There are multiple studies comparing high versus low consumers of ultra processed food. They find a strikingly consistent shift in this balance. In people who consume ultra processed foods to a larger extent, the bad bacteria are significantly increased. At the same time, the good bacteria decline. So there are common dietary emulsifiers such as carboxymethylcellulose and polysorbate 80. These are used in ultra-processed foods to extend the shelf life and to improve the texture of the product from in everything from ice cream to packaged bread. They damage the protective mucus layer in the gut, and once it gets damaged, then it leads to another condition called leaky gut. Leaky gut का मतलब है कि what is supposed to stay inside your gut leaks out into the bloodstream, which means that now there are bacterial toxins in your bloodstream. What these bacterial toxins do, that they get detected by the immune system, and immune system perceives them as a threat, which then sends a signal to the brain that the body is in danger. Now, this leaky gut and the end result of immune dysregulation is directly related to your mental health. A systematic review and meta-analysis published in 2025 pooled the available studies and confirmed that people with depressive symptoms have significantly higher levels of leaky gut biomarkers than healthy controls. So the harmful bacterial substances that are leaking out of the gut are not only affecting the entire body and putting it in inflammation, but also causes brain inflammation called neuroinflammation. While you can adopt a lot of lifestyle changes that can benefit the microbiome and eventually give you a healthy gut and reverse dysbiosis, one thing that you can start doing immediately is start eating healthy from today. Research has shown that the simplest starting points are eating a whole food plant-based diet, which has a lot of fiber containing foods. Fiber, as you know, is only found in plant food. So a variety of fruits, vegetables, legumes, beans, nuts, and seeds will give you a fiber-rich diet. There is some evidence now that if you aim to eat at least 30 different varieties of plant-based foods, this gives you enough variety of fiber that the microbiome can feed on and grow the healthy bacteria. Secondly, include prebiotics and probiotics in your diet. What are prebiotics? Prebiotics are those foods that the bacteria you already have will feed on. So to grow the healthy bacteria, it needs prebiotics. Secondly, probiotics. Probiotics such as yogurt, kefir, kombucha, or homemade pickles, these are all good sources of probiotics. There are some probiotics that are available in the market which are sweetened. So I want to tell you here that don't go for the sweetened probiotics because it has a negative effect rather than giving you a beneficial effect. Your key takeaway from this video should be that how diet affects your microbiome and gut health, and how that in turn affects your gut-brain axis and mental health. A lot of depression and anxiety that we see these days, not just in adults, but also in younger children and teens, is because they have bad lifestyle habits. One of them is diet. More and more ultra processed foods are getting into their diets. Studies have shown that eating a healthy diet, a diet rich in plant foods, whole food, plant based diets will improve the mood, the depressive symptoms, and anxiety. So, when I said this was so interesting, in a way, the microbiome and how it affects the gut brain axis, the reason is that this is a pathway that you can access easily and fix easily. Before we used to think that these are neurological symptoms that are hard to treat and that are difficult to access. With emerging research, we now know that if we fix these pathways, if we fix the gut microbiome through diet and lifestyle changes, we can get rid of the root cause and improve our overall health, not just physical, but also mental health. In the end, I would like to say that if you keep your microbiome happy, the microbiome will keep you happy. Thank you.